What is going on, family? I am very stoked to get into another song from our good friend Grimfel. He is a major friend and supporter of the Foxtrot family, so we really appreciate him. He's actually here chilling with us right now, so we're getting into another song from him that we haven't checked out yet. He's got a brand new album that is coming out very soon, so be on the lookout for that. Make sure you check it out. He puts a lot of hard work and dedication to everything that he does, and so we want to just show as much support as we can for Grimfel and his music, so, and just the whole band out there in general. So let's go ahead and jump into Blood on Your Hands. Oh man, I love how he's playing with me right now, man. Like that this intro has been fucking hard, where like it's got like, I love that little like just the little electronic beat or whatever, like in the beginning, just sounds sick as fuck. It sounds like super like nighttime, like just kind of like cemetery vibes, you know what I'm saying? And then like, you know, just the way that they keep playing with like that like those like this, just like you're gonna keep it going and they kind of back it up and then they keep it going, then they back it up. Like it's fucking sick that way.
Please interrupt our regular program. Of foreign importance, messages to the nation. Promises made, but never yet. Everyone's trust, so carelessly slipped. You play hide and seek, high in your ivory tower.
You play hide and seek while you hide in your ivory tower, man. That's a good one right there. Yeah, I think I try my best, guys, to not try to get too political on the channel, but when the music itself is kind of addressing it, you know, it's the time to kind of say something, right? Where we've gotten into some of these discussions before, where I think a lot of us are under the same kind of thought processes, that we understand that the people who make a lot of the decisions in the world, no matter which part of the world that you live in, that they make decisions that benefit them and the people around them more than it does the actual majority of people. And I think that outcries to, you know, major businesses that way, powerful figures, politicians for sure, is necessary. And I think that that's what music is supposed to be, one of those outlets where you should be able to talk about those things 1000%. And that idea of like sitting up in the ivory tower, no matter where you are in the world, you have a government probably, you know what I mean? If you don't, you're probably not on YouTube right now. So you don't got internet, you know, most likely, if you don't have or transcribe to a government in some sort of way. And I think a lot of us in most of the world are feeling a lot of that kind of like that pain right now, of like the people who are in those ivory towers are really just shitting on us. You know what I mean? Where they're out there doing whatever the fuck they're doing, making money for themselves, while we have a hard time just being able to buy groceries right now. You know what I mean? So again, music is the place that is. This is where this kind of stuff is supposed to be reflected. This is where that kind of expression and those feelings should be able to be had, whether or not you agree with them or not. It doesn't mean that the real feel isn't there. Does that make sense? And I think it's always important to remember that, like, no matter what your circumstances are, there is somebody always that has it worse than you. And I know that's hard to believe sometimes, and I know it's hard to really look at things that way, especially when you're going through hell yourself. But I think that's why it's important for us to sort of look out for one another that way, because those people in the towers are never going to, no matter who we send in there, they're never going to. They'll promise us over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and it'll never really change. That's kind of the point of like why these governments are set up the way that they are, is so that it doesn't change. It's very difficult to change. There is a huge degree of separation between how things get done and how things do not get done, and we have very little to do with how things get done. You know what I mean? All right, I feel like I got through that pretty safely. You know, diving into the political touch. I don't think I'm gonna get canceled by anything I said today.
So how the fuck do you sleep at night whilst everyone else pays the price? Just follow your ego so full of pride. Don't you know that you got blood on your hands?
One of the things I like a lot about Grimfel is the fact that like the way that when they choose to like mix in like the hardcore vocals, right? I talked about that in I think it was in Obsidian, where I made a comment about like it's kind of hard to win me over on a song that is like 90% hard vocals. Does that make sense? Even though that one's not one of those ones, it has like harsh vocals throughout the good majority of it, right? I think it's all about placement. It's all about the time and the need for when it is in there in the moment. And I love how they incorporate in this one specifically, because it's a lot of clean vocals in this song. And I think it's important. You know what I mean? It's important to understand some of those. I don't want there to be any confusion of what I'm saying, but when there's times where I gotta let it out, I'm letting it out. You know what I'm saying? So I think you just kind of feel all that emotion really throughout the entire song. I had a thought and now I lost it. The video concept again, I think is cool. We still got a little bit more left to go, so I think it's befitting of the subject matter. You know what I mean? I like the fact that it's black and white at the same time. For some reason, it just that's what it needs. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's kind of what they nail on everything when it comes to the visuals. Is like, you know, you never know what it kind of like needs to be added to it, because it could be a million things. You know what I mean? This could be a band just playing on top of a rooftop. You know what I mean? And it would still be hard, but you know, the visual effects do tell a story at the same time. So I love the fact that they incorporate a lot of the visuals with the audio storytelling when it comes to really everything that I've seen so far out of Grimfel. Oh man, I don't give them enough praise, man, for the instrumentation aspect too, because like I talk a lot about the lyrics and the visual concepts, but man, like they do not fuck around with the breakdowns, with the drums, all that shit. That shit sounds fucking sick.
We break from our scheduled program to bring you a critical update.
See, they did that twice. You know what I mean? I talked about it at the beginning about how like it's choppy. You know what I mean? Where like it's like as soon as you get it going, there's an interruption. You know what I mean? And then they have like the whole breaking news. We're interrupting your life to tell you some other bad, terrible things that are happening in the world. Like it doesn't happen like every single fucking day, forever.
While your people sleep under these floors, you feast on fame like you are declined. As families struggle on the rest. Can you hear the voices rising? The people's anger is not surprising.
a bunch of cowards.
Oh man, that was just another straight out fire edition from Grimfel. I think that we could sit here and probably talk all day about the people behind the scenes and the idea of like what that really means about the blood on your hands. You know what I mean? Where like, you know, this is like one of those things where it's a little difficult for me to kind of even just like bring up or really even talk about. But there's been like certain times when people say certain things to me when it comes to like who the president was and who was in specific positions and all that kinds of stuff, like when I went through my deployments. Well, if we didn't have this person or that person, you would have never went through that. And honestly, guys, I can't live in a world where I try to even think about that. Well, what if we had a different president? Then I wouldn't have got fucked up because we would have never went to Iraq. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we can't live in a world like that. It's not the reality. And like, you know, I could sit here and tell you that like I haven't spent like every day since I got out of the military, like dealing with struggles that I got while I was in the military. And one of the main reasons why I left is because like, you know, I couldn't think about that idea of the blood on your hands. Like, what were we doing that for? And all the people that just went about their lives like nothing had changed that entire time that we were gone. And all the people that made money off of what was happening while we were over there. I really hate politics, guys. I really do. It was my job to pay attention to it for a while. And I really hate talking about it. But I also, like, again, like I said earlier in this video, I think it's necessary. Because not everybody had the same experience that I did, and not everybody had the experience of being able to have to try to face and like think about some of that stuff. You know what I mean? But because we have songs like this, it makes people even think about it a little bit. You know what I mean? There's so much going on in the world every single day. And the people affected by it, you just watch people walk away, seem to walk around and just get away with it. You know what I mean? When all these other people are hurting and struggling. I think this song was sick, man. I think it was great. You know, I haven't heard one yet that I didn't like yet. I love what this band and this group represents. You know, especially the brainchild behind it, you know. They write about all the things that, you know, are a little bit uncomfortable in life. And I really appreciate the artists that do that, because life isn't comfortable. It really isn't for hardly anybody. And I appreciate the artists that are brave enough to share that and share those experiences and those feelings, because it makes people feel a little less alone. And I think that's really important. That's all I got for this one, guys. Be kind to a stranger today. Tell somebody that you love them. And if you haven't joined the Foxtrot family, there's always room for you.